What's up, guys? How's it going? It is Matt here. So, I know it's been a little bit since I've done a video, guys. I'm very busy at work, but I want to talk a little bit about old school versus new school. So, let's get into it. Now, throughout my entire life, guys, I've been not kind of on the changing end of things, all right, where I was born, the time, and the times. I've just always been on the changing end of things, like when I'm in school, different policies, procedures. When the Marine Corps, it was the old school type of military, just learning how the whole, just learning to have to change. As in, we went from tricolor camouflage to the multicam. Our drill instructors were still wearing the black standard boots, or like the jungle boots, old school jungle boots with Panama soles, with their Marpat camo, the Marine Corps, the digital camo, and they didn't know what to do it for the time when when we're in the hallway or when they're barracks and there's no, my bad, we're in the squad bay and there's nothing going on, and instead of polishing boots like they've always done, they had to figure out some way to do it. So they gave us this thing called a scuzz brush, and they had us scrub our boots that didn't need to get scrubbed or polished. So my entire my entire life has kind of been like I've been right on the brink of things. So right when cell phones were coming out, all that other thing, I've always been right there, right? But you know, the same thing goes for the shooting world. It really does. The same thing goes for the shooting world. I mean, in the military, is during my time of service, I got the sun shining in a weird way. Whatever, you got to deal with it, guys. But like during my time of service, it was still double action triggers. It was all about the double action. When I was in the service, either you had a Beretta, if you had a pistol, which most riflemen didn't have a pistol, you either had a Beretta. If you're special operations, you had a 1911. I mean, that's it. That was just what it was. You either Beretta or a 1911 was what you had. We still had 1911s in our armory that the shooting teams were using and stuff like that. We were at that time where we see a Glock in the armory every now and then. We're like, oh, that's cool, but I'd rather take my 1911 because that's what I know, and it's metal and wood and stuff like that. And that's just kind of where we always were. All right, that's kind of where I've always been when it comes to shooting community. Now, the same thing goes to like combat. All right, when we were overseas, is we went from the military of getting deployed to say Okinawa to do training daily. Or instead of going overseas to fight wars, it was Okinawa or Bridgeport to do cold weather training or something like that. That's kind of what the military was. I mean, they in order to pass the time, they hazed because there's nothing else to do, and that's all they were, because that's how that's how they were taught to create Marines, is to haze other Marines and stuff like that, and that makes them into stronger Marines later. That's what the time was. They were getting ready for war. The towers went down when my senior Marines were in service. I was a senior in high school when it went down. But at the same time, they wanted to deploy, but they were still in that kind of transition from the training type aspect to the actual war fighters. And when we got over there, it was rough for everyone because we're all trying to figure out how things are. Now, history repeats itself time and time again when it comes to militaries and stuff like that. And when you've had a lot of time where you haven't been when you haven't been deployed, haven't been in combat and stuff like that, what you're taught in the book when it comes to book tactics, by the textbook, if you want to call that, and it's all very basic stuff. Now, when we were deployed, within a month of me being in active duty, we were actually in the Kuwait border getting ready to cross over to Iraq back in 03. And it was we didn't do a whole lot of mount. There just wasn't a whole lot of mount. It was all that time, it was open desert warfare, practicing that, formations, hand signals. It was basically like going through the manual for infantry. That's basically what our training was, because that's just what the training had come to that time. And then we crossed the border of Iraq and everything changed, and it was urban warfare, and we literally had to explain it as we literally had to write the book again in urban warfare, because the military had forgotten so many lessons that they learned in the years of service, whether it was through Desert Storm, through Vietnam, through everything. Like, they were losing all those lessons between when it came to like the small villages and urban warfare. They forgot all that stuff. All right, so we had to recreate everything, and we made a lot of mistakes. Luckily, we made it home alive, but we made a lot of mistakes, and we had to readjust and do that. Now, the same thing comes to the shooting community. All right, when it comes to shooting community, so when I teach, when I teach, a lot of people will joke around. I'm not an anti-Glock or anything like that. I'm just kind of more of that old school mindset when it comes to firearms training, which is what the military military trained is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. All right, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's about getting the pistol out of the holster and hitting the target. That's what it's about. Nowadays, it's about doing everything as fast as you possibly can, walking fast by a shot timer as fast as you can, lightweight gun, all that other stuff. That's what it has turned into now. It's no longer the slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's fast, 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 100% all the times. However, that doesn't work in an urban environment. All right, that doesn't work very well in an urban environment because, you know, it'll work great for like a competition. It'll absolutely work great for like competition, but an urban environment, you have to slowly, methodically work your way through the building, clearing one room at a time, pieing the corners, doing everything you can slowly and smoothly get the job done. Now, slow as smooth as fast doesn't mean that you gotta be, you know, you need to be a snail, because if you're a snail, you're gonna have a really bad day. You have to find that balance, and you have to do it so much that it becomes smooth at what you do. So it becomes slow as smooth, smooth as fast, and that's what I train. And it's kind of funny when I look at it, because like all these like modern day teachers, it literally looks like they're at like they're training for a competition. That's pretty much what it looks like when they're doing defensive training or stuff like that. And I look at that stuff as a guy that, you know, we literally had to rewrite the book of urban warfare and just fighting our ways through cities and buildings and stuff like that. And literally my entire deployments in Iraq was pretty much building, urban warfare, clearing building, mountain warfare, all this. That's all we ever did. We had a couple open desert stuff, yeah, but most of the time it was building, clearing, patrols, city areas, built up areas. You know, from a guy that did so much of that in a natural bad situation, we had to make a ton of mistakes to learn how to do things right and learn what really worked for us and learn the safest way to do things. From a guy that did that, it got bad. It's changed. It's changed a lot. It really has changed a lot. And that's why there's this, I'm still kind of, there's that old school mentality, which is slow, smooth, smooth, fast, work your way through it, do the things right. Then there's the fast mindset, which is do the thing as fast as you possibly can, have the fastest, most high speed stuff, get the fancy optics and stuff like that. Hell, when I was in the service, we didn't have optics yet. I mean, we were still using iron sights. It was all about marksmanship. Marksmanship was more important than anything else. Marksmanship now is get an optic, throw an optic on it, you'll be able to see better. Us at 500 yards, we had to use iron sights. Nowadays, you use ACOGs, right? And they had the magnification with it. So with the old school, you know, when a lot of old school people teach, if you go to an instructor and you think that their techniques are kind of old school when it comes to this and the way how they teach things, you got to remember is just because it's old school doesn't mean it isn't wrong. All right, that doesn't mean it isn't wrong. I mean, things change like time, taxes change like time, and then you have these periods where there's not much going on, where people develop bad habits and they have to relearn things later on. And it comes down to when they got to relearn things back on when it comes to urban warfare and stuff like that. It'll turn into the same thing again, which is, oh yeah, we forgot, we got to do this slowly now. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and it always reverts right back to that. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about me, and remember, it's our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other.